Greetings and welcome to In Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. We hear more narratives and conversations about taking soca music to the billboard, to the Grammys, etc. Now we're about to have a conversation with an artist considered for a Grammy nomination, which are moves in the right direction. Rossi Kempis Gray, or RKG, he joins us now. Welcome, sir. I want to start off by saying congratulations and ask, what does that consideration for the nomination mean for you? Because we hear a lot more local artists talking about that is where they're heading now.
Well, a pleasant day to you. I was start off with saying that. What it means to me, it's a great accomplishment, and it's actually the second time. About, let's say, 6 years ago, I was considered for a Grammy nomination in the reggae category. I had an album that was a fusion of soca, dancehall, but in the Grammys now, although it was soca-based also, the album itself, they had it under the reggae category. And that was 6 years ago. That was, it went up against the likes of Morgan Heritage, Sizzla, Kalonji, Cranium. And this year, we submitted the Zungusha song, and that song was considered in the category of global music performance alongside Kes was also considered in that category.
Now looking at, and not even going to talk about Zungushas yet, but it's very interesting to see it's under different categories. We won't talk about her soca category as yet, but what do you think that says about the work that you and your team have been putting in over this period of time?
It says a lot. I'll tell you why. Because many times over the years, I've heard, hey, stick to the soca, stick to the authentic soca. But I believe for music to be accepted in the wider world, we need to fuse the music. All right? Now, I've been putting in the work for years. Those who know me singing, a lot of people know me from radio. You know, I'm working on X99.1 FM. That's my daily job. You know what I mean? But other than that, the music itself, for people to accept it, you need to fuse the music. So what happened, I decided to, over the years, not just do the authentic soca, but to fuse it. If you listen to my album, like I have an album called Eccentric, which is a fusion of soca, reggae, you know, dancehall. And I'm actually working on a current album right now which is a more kind of Afrobeat kind of vibe. And the reason for doing that, in the pandemic, I started getting some traction from places like Gambia and Kenya, different places in Africa, because of a DJ called Mighty Songs that heard the music on the internet and reached out to me.
And it's really interesting because you say fusion, we would have had Orville, Shaggy, Burrell passing through different networks in terms of television and Next yesterday, and he was talking about a hybrid.
Yes.
Now, he was also saying that many times in these smaller spaces, you need to work 10 times as hard with much less resources to get the same amount of play, shine as some of the persons coming out of larger spaces. Is that something that you find to be true with you and your journey? Because it's almost 2 decades, right?
Yeah. It's almost 2 decades, you're correct. Definitely, I have to work very, very hard. I'll give an example. I like to go against the norm. Like in 2019, I had a song called Spanish Dancer, all right? And for those who view in this interview, you could go type RKG Spanish Dancer on YouTube, and you're going to see the music video. The video was done by Gotti, Leroy Gotti Thomas, may his soul rest in peace, great videographer. Now, that song in particular, that song was a fusion of soca and Afrobeat, so I was doing it long time, you know? And the song, I released the song in the carnival. And people was asking, hey, this is a nice summer track, why you release it in the carnival? And just like what Shaggy said, hybrid music, I believe the music needs to be hybrid. It needs to be a fusion for people to gravitate to the music, you know? And me singing what I sing, which some people may say here is dancehall or soca, outside of here, they just look at Caribbean music, right? Perfect example, when DJs reach out to me from Africa, they sometimes they believe I'm Jamaican. I have to tell them, no, I'm from Trinidad. And they're like, where Trinidad is? I say Trinidad is very close to Jamaica. They believe actually Trinidad is also a place in Jamaica. Some DJs ask me, Trinidad is a place in Jamaica. When they hear the Caribbean, the first thing that comes to mind is Jamaica, actually.
And one of the things, so you spoke about two things that I want to follow up on. So in terms of that sound, and I even want to ask the question, when you say pure soca, what are you talking about? And we'll talk about seasoning just a bit, but when you say pure soca, what do you mean?
All right, when I talk about, for instance, now it started with Calypso, right? And then hats off to Shorty I that invented the soca music. That was also an invention, that was also a hybrid music, so to speak, because he decided now to fuse the Indian music with the African drums and that kind of thing. Now, when I talk about soca, I'm talking about the soca from the days of Ronnie McIntosh, Super Blue. You know, even now, people still try to fuse the soca now, but there's like the power soca. All right, when you listen to power soca, a lot of times people think, but hey, power soca, people cannot understand it. But power soca is very close to dance music. Right? If you watch the BPM, the speed of it, right? You could take a perfect example. KMC sings power soca, but if you listen, he have also tracks that is very similar, is soca mixed with dance music. So when I say pure soca, I am talking about, you know, the soca that we accept here, right? The songs that we play, like I'll give you an example, Olatunji, right? Engine Room. When you hear that song, you hear soca, right? You hear the pan, you hear the steel pan, you hear the percussions, and you know that is soca. But a song like Spanish Dancer, or a song like even Kess with Shaggy, Mood, you know that is hybrid, that is a fusion of our authentic soca and what you may call, you know, dance soul or some a fusion of R&B. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And when you talk about Engine Room, I will think I hear there's a kind of throwback energy. I think Kaiso as well. But that's something that we'll discuss when we get into the next half of it. We're speaking with RKG. Stay with us. We return with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with Rossi Campus Gray, RKG, the artist. And you've spoken about Spanish Dancer a few times, RKG. So I want to ask, what are some of the influences that go into your music, in the sense that I want my sound to be a little more like this, or I want it to be a little more like this, because I'm thinking 1, pure soca, 2, Spanish Dancer, 3, Zongusha. So what determines what goes into your music at any point in time?
I'll give you a perfect example. When I started working on Spanish Dancer, the producer himself had a beat, right? I came into the studio and I was like, you know, I love this beat, but I think we need to put some more elements to the beat. So there's a guitarist by the name of Jabalani, Jab's Music, great guitarist, young fella, very talented. And I was hearing some Spanish guitars in it. So I called him up, I'm like, yo, Jab, I have a song here and I'm feeling some Spanish guitars in it. Then when he decided to come and he put the guitars in it, I was like, yo, this song's good, but I want to get the live feel of a bass. So I linked BC from the All Stars band, and I was like, bass, I have a track here, right? It's like a fusion of Latin, reggaeton, Afrobeats and soca, but I'm feeling like I want to get a live bass on it. So I brought him in studio and he put in the live bass. So it's me just listening to the track and deciding to get that sound that I think could connect with people, right? And that's how I work with the music, and that's how Spanish Dancer was done.
And does working on radio kind of limit your creativity as an artist, in the sense that, nah boy, this might get a little pressure to play, or yeah, I see this is what playing right about now. How does that, how do you deal with that?
That's an important question you asked me there, right? Now there's the ups and downs with it, right? Working on radio helps me be on par with everything that's happening, because I work at 12 to 3 shift where I hear music from hip hop to dance. So I'm currently hearing music. So it helps with the creativity. In terms of limiting you, sometimes you are doing music and it's a competitive environment. You work radio and plus you're an artist and you're singing, right? So it's very competitive because I'm not the only one that work on radio that sing, right? But I'll say, I go hard with the music, I put in the work with the music, and who love the music would accept the music.
Okay, no, Spanish dancer, yes, one thing, and you gave us the example, on the perfect example, as you said, Zungusha, no.
Well, Zungusha, Kwabash kilam se anoko cheki wote wanoko dai. That in the language of Swahili means I see you and I want you, right? Now, how that happened, you asked me if you could speak Swahili, I would say no. I did a collaboration with an artist named Gingy from Kenya. That's going to be on my next album. And when I was doing that song in particular, I remember someone telling me, when you did Spanish Dancer, why didn't you do a Spanish version of it? And I didn't really think of it then. But when I came around to do Zungusha, right, I said, you know what? Let me get somebody to translate parts of the song in the language of Swahili. So I called him up, I wrote the song, I sent it to him, and I said, you know what? I want you to translate this. So he translated, he sang it, and he sent it back to me. And I was like 2 weeks on just learning those words. You want to make sure and get it correct, right? And then when the song was finished now, when I released the song, my fans in Africa, the different places, like, hey, you know, we know what you're saying, but it sounds so cool because your accent is different.
Well, I'm glad that he actually gave you the audio of it as well, because it would be one thing to say, okay, well, I think this is how it's supposed to pronounce, and it's not even a matter of accent, you just say anything wrong.
That was the thing. I was like, you know what, I personally, I want to get this correct, because if I don't get it correct, the little fans that get it in different places of Gambia, they're going to laugh. But what they were like, yo, this is cool. We know exactly what you're saying, because if you go under Zungusha, right, the music video, and you watch the comments, you'll see people commenting from Africa saying exactly what I'm saying. So I know for sure I was correct in the language when we translated it.
Nice, that's always a blessing. And looking at expanding the people you engage with and trying to reach them musically, is this something that you see yourself doing more of? You're talking about a collaboration that is going to be on your next album with someone from Kenya. What are some of the, what is further on the horizon in terms of music?
Well, these people are really, it's so funny, I've never traveled to Africa. All what I'm talking about happened through the internet, happened through emails, happened through Instagram, happened through Facebook, TikTok, people connecting with me. I've never traveled. Promoters reach out to me so far, interested in having me in different places of Africa. In terms of collaboration, I have one collaboration so far with a guy named Gingy that's going to be on my album, and I have about 4 other collaborations with different artists of different parts of Africa.
The motherland.
Yeah, the motherland, yeah. Actually, it's so funny that the ironic thing is said motherland, because after the carnival season, I have a song that I did talking about the motherland, actually describing the motherland. But when you listen to the song, it's a girl I'm singing about.
Okay, so I'll leave you with a high science, but at the same time, there are some other collaborations that you've done and that they're closer to home. So speak to them a little bit, please.
All right, so this year, I've decided, I was like, you know, I don't like to, or I should say, just do a song for doing a song's sake. All right, so I was home and I was like, KG, what are you going to sing this year? And then I came up with the idea, because as a DJ, when a DJ decides to play in a party, sometimes the first thing he would say is, all my single ladies, put your hands in the air. So I got a melody, I was singing, I started singing, girl, you're single and you want party. You sign the divorce papers, you're done. I said, hey, that's a melody. Linked up a producer, one of my producers I work with by the name of Nice Nation, and I sent him the melody and the idea. He loved it. And then somebody I always wanted to work with was this guy, Outer Ultimate Rejects, Madman Johan. Linked him, he loved the idea. So these both producers collaborated on a song called Divorce Papers, had the song, started playing, released it. 3 weeks into the release, Problem Child, we had a conversation, and the first thing I was going to ask him for was a dub plate. I asked him for a dub plate for my DJ, and I was going to ask him for a dub plate for me. And then I said, he's like, yeah, what you want? I was like, you know what? You think you remix this song with me? And he was cool with it. Hats off to Brendan, that's his road manager that put everything in place. We did that remix. So there's the Divorce Papers song, and there's the remix with Problem Child. And I currently also, about 2 weeks ago, I released a song called Bad Jab. Bad Jab is a collaboration with myself and the Paramount Blue Devils.
Well, I'm so glad you're talking about Bad Jab, because RKG, I want to ask you, it have no middle ground for you? Is always you're pursuing somebody, or you're done with somebody? Because I even thinking about I go parang by myself. What's happening?
Hey, you're funny that you say parang by myself. I had no idea I was going to do a parang that year. Hats off to Mark Anthony and Alan Diaz who work 100. They were like, KG, the last parang I gave us with Kenny J. May, soul rest in peace. You know, you need to give us another parang. And I was like, well, go and sing. And I just came up with the idea, I go parang by myself, you know. So I don't put limits to my music. Give me a chance, I would sing a reggaeton, give me a chance. There's no limit when it comes to the music. With me, I believe you go hard in what you're doing, take your time and keep putting in the work. Any artist that's out there and listening to this interview, many times I would get despondent because a creative person, when you put in the work and you create something and sometimes it's not accepted as you wish, right? And then you realize, but wait, you release an album, 4 songs played here, but in Africa, the same songs that they didn't play here, they're jumping up and they loving the song outside. So sometimes, you know, a king doesn't be a king home.
And that kind of brings me back in this 1.5 minutes that we have about Grammy consideration or consideration for nomination. It's not as though somebody could just be on TikTok or YouTube or Facebook and say, yes, we're going and vote for him. So what are some of those things that you want to go into the work that is happening locally in the region so that we have more considerations, we have nominations, as opposed to just saying that, well, 6 years ago, now it'll be another 6 years before it happens again.
Yeah. The thing with the Grammys, a lot of people don't understand, as you said. People think it's just go on the internet, you go on a link and you press vote. It doesn't work like that. You have to be a certified voter for the Grammy. So, all right, so like you are a presenter, a musician, somebody who is a DJ, and once in music, what happens, you submit your information, and once you fit the criteria, you pay a yearly subscription, right? And when you pay that, you become a voter. They send you all the documents, you become a voter, and we have very few voters in the Caribbean. So sometimes even like myself, when you hear RKG considered for a Grammy, how many people really going to vote from the Caribbean? You understand? Reggae is bigger than, and we need to keep it real. Soca is not as big as reggae yet. That's what I want to say. So if you like, Kabaka just won the is Kabaka? I believe it's Kabaka
Pyramid, yes, ma'am.
Yes, Kabaka Pyramid just won the Grammys, right? And a lot of people out of Europe and the United States and different places, Africa, would vote for him. You know what I mean? So we need to start first by encouraging our people to be certified voters. So when, let's say, Irfan Alves or Preedy or whoever gets a consideration next, more people can vote for them.
And with that, we want to thank you so much, Rossi Kempesbury, RKG, the artiste. And on behalf of the entire news team, I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth with me. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.